Have you read the book Who Moved My Cheese? It's a parable about four mice who live in a maze, and every day the cheese is found in the same corner of the maze, so every day the mice gather there and they eat it until one day it isn't. What happens? Well, one of the mice stays going back to that corner every day in the hope the cheese will reappear. Another mouse explores the whole maze to see if the cheese is now in a new place. Can you guess which mouse starves to death? It's the one that looks for the cheese in the same old place. Now, we're in a situation where maybe your cheese has moved. As a copywriter, my pattern in the last few months was March, everyone went into shock. My business got really busy because I was writing crisis communications for clients. Then in April, it all stopped. They started to cancel. Some of my clients ended up in hospital even. And people withdrew their marketing budgets and they got scared of money and thought, oh, they could do their own writing. In May, they started to trickle back because they realised we're in the long term and perhaps they need professional help after all. And in June, the copyright side at least is back to business as usual. I've put some resources for you. This is some data from the New York Times, who have said over 500 epidemiologists and infectious disease specialists, when do they expect to resume normal activities? They said that 56% of them think they'll be able to travel overnight within driving distance this year. On a plane, 44% think it's going to be 3 months before that happens. And attending a sporting event, concert or play, 64% think it'll be in a year before we're going to be able to do that again. Now, copywriting and psychology are really closely linked, and it's useful to look at the psychology of what's going on, either with you as a business or indeed with your customers, because this will help you work out where is your cheese. Maslow, you might have heard before, the hierarchy of needs. At the bottom of the pyramid, you've got the human body's physical needs for air, water, food. That's where we all were back in March because we were desperate for toilet paper and supply of food, and people were very concerned at the bottom of the pyramid. And it's only when those needs are met that people can move up to the next step of the pyramid, which is safety needs. And to do with employment and property and personal security, well, all that is under threat as well. If people are furloughed or they've lost their jobs or they're self-employed and they don't get government support. That's why health professionals are so busy at the moment. The other people that are really busy are those in the food supply chain because they're serving those needs at the bottom of the pyramid. The next level up, the love and belonging and connection level, that's why things like Zoom are proving so important, profitable for the organisations. All the competitors are trying to grab a slice of the Zoom market, because if we can't go out and we can't be with our family and friends, then video connection is all we've got. The things at the top of the pyramid are where businesses are really struggling. It's why entertainers are now live streaming performances free, because they can't have the luxury of giving a show in a people have to pay a lot more and go on public transport to access and perhaps can't buy food because the restaurants were shut. And those things that make you feel good, maybe the coat industry, they might all be struggling at the moment. The top of the pyramid is those brief moments in life when everything's right with the world and your place in the universe and you're happy and you're connected, and those don't money. Those moments of self-actualization that we all aspire to happen. You notice the spring flowers, or when you rainbows with the children, or when you hear the bird song because there is traffic or aircraft noise. The trouble with self-actualization is that you never stay there, because what happens is the minute you get hungry or you need the loo, you drop right back down to the bottom of the pyramid, and those become your primary needs. So think about, where are your customers right now, and where are you as a business? What level of the pyramid do you serve? If you look at this data, you'll see which businesses, unsurprisingly, are doing well and which are badly. This is from March 2020 compared with March 2019, and it's the top 100 growing and declining categories in e-commerce. At the top, you've got disposable bread machines, cough and cold. It is. At the bottom, luggage and suitcases, briefcases and camera. If you're in the travel business, your cheese has moved. And unless you can run around the maze and find a new where this is going to be, then you're going to struggle to make my moment, and you might need to call on people like Paul. What does this mean for your marketing communications? You, like me, probably received lots of messages from big brands when all this began, and lots of those messages included the same old words and phrases. I have generated a buzzword bingo sheet which I'm about to share, and if you recognize any words and phrases, if you've heard them, type yes in the chat. Okay, have you heard anybody say, we're all in this together, or we're here for you, or we're here to help, or uncertain times, challenging times, difficult times, unprecedented times, trying times, new normal, new reality, stay safe, stay alert, stay connected, wash your hands, pivot, all of those. Yes, all of them. Everyone's saying yes, yes, yes. Okay. The trouble with all those words is they were once upon a time perfectly good words, but they have very quickly become cheesy cliches. And cheesy cliches that are inappropriate are not the way to reach your target audience right now. You need to get away from one-to-many communication and go for one-to-one communication. That is going to be much more effective during a time like this, which is one of the cheesy cliches. Let me show you an example of somebody who has got this more or less right. Here's the guy from Bowden, and in the catalogue he's being very honest and open and said it's hard to know what to say. Might seem highly inappropriate to show you clothes you don't need, but we've already made them, we've already taken the photos, we've already printed the catalogues, it's too late to stop. We hope you don't find it horribly insensitive. Our safety is our priority, our shop closed, everyone's working from home, then we've got a touch of humour, wearing Bowden from the start, naturally. Please look after yourselves, I really hope clothes cheer you up, which is frankly what we all need. As distinct from all those cheesy cliches, he's gone for a very personable tone of voice, and he has gone for some humour, and he's hit the mark pretty well. What this means is, when you are writing your marketing communications, there is a technique that you can use, and I call it the difference between top-down and bottom-up copywriting. Let's say this is you, and this is your target audience, and you message you want to communicate. Here's your message, and your job is to get your message into their brain. The trouble is, they've already got something in their brain, they've thought, and their thought is, what's in it for me? Now, typically, if you're writing your own message, you'll use company, you'll use top-down language, I, us, we, our. But there are only two words that answer that question from your reader's point of view, and those are the words you and your. I call that bottom-up copywriting. And if you cut all the top-down language and replace it with you and your communications will instantly be more compelling. You won't completely abandon the top-down words, but if you save them for the bottom third perhaps of your marketing communication, and you use the word you in the top 2/3 of your marketing communication, you're answering the question in your reader's brain, and they are more likely to continue reading. Those are my top tips for copywriting in a crisis.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, that was certainly very enlightening. I love the way you twisted around the fact that some of us would have seen that presentation the other day, and it was just totally new and totally fresh. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for your time.
If you have questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Yeah, just wanted to ask you, just that last bit you talked about, you and your. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on that? It was quite an interesting way for engaging, because you're trying to really reach what their needs are and draw them in. So just elaborate a little bit more on that, please.
Classic marketing to have to answer what's in it for me from the reader's point of view, and turn features into benefits, because and not many people tell you how all of that. Well, that's how you do it. You switch from top-down language centric approach, and you change to bottom-up language, which is the reader-centered approach. Now, this comes from the party. You're in a party and there's a whole load of conversations going on around you, and someone in the far corner of the room uses your name. You might be in deep conversation with somebody else, but you know, if you hear your own name, how your ears prick up. Well, that's the powerful word in the English language, is your own name. Second best is the words you and your. And why they're powerful in copywriting is because it communicates directly from your brain into theirs. And so instead of making your copy all about you, the company, and you make about you, the reader, it's one of the techniques for keeping your copy more interesting and gives you a better chance they'll read it till the end.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Colin, yes, please.
Yeah, I'm working with a client at the moment, and she's a dog trainer, and she had a website and it wasn't going anywhere and she wasn't getting any business. So we had a chat, and I suggested that she put a form up that comes up when you go to the first page, offering a free newsletter if they join a mailing list. Hey presto, over the weekend she gets 5 people joining her mailing list. So although these pop-ups are annoying, if you give something back, people will actually participate in getting on the mailing list.
Now, I agree with that. That's the law of reciprocity. The more you give away, the more you get back. Like a talk like this, giving away a load of inside secrets. I could give you a whole day of them. I could give you a whole week about websites, but it's just a taster. And these people are nervous about spending money for the reason that they're not generating as much income as usual. Of course, they'll be more careful what they spend. Then they will tend to want more and more and more free before they commit to buy. And that means, I love that idea, Colin, and you're right, I did the same thing on some of my websites. I resisted pop-ups for years, but as soon as I added them, I got more sign-ups. Now, I have yet to see whether those sign-ups convert into paying customers. But my tip about newsletters is, because our inboxes are too full and our library, we don't have time to read newsletters, even the ones we want to read. So, because I'm a wordsmith, I play with the words. I don't call it a newsletter. I call mine a tip sheet, or if it's for a client, it might be leadership insights or offers and deals, or give it some kind of title that shows the value, that shows the benefit to the reader. And don't make it look like a newsletter. So don't word subscribe or sign up, because that also is likely to turn off the few people that are trying to pressure inbox. Make sure that value from your teaser, they've got to give up their precious email address, and they want to know what they're going to get in return for that. So it's called micro copy, the copy that goes on the button. I would say, instead of subscribe, it might say yes please, or go, or give me my free white paper, or whatever it is that is behind the content of that newsletter that we don't call a newsletter.
Yeah, one other thing that she hadn't done, and I don't know how many people know this, is that you can register your business with Google And then if they type in dog trainer in BR33GN, you will appear on the list, and it's free as well. So that's another good tip to people who want to do something for free that gets you up there on the Google search engine.
Absolutely agree. You can pin your business on Google for nothing, and then to build on that, get a few friendly, loyal clients to write reviews for you, because then when you appear in the Google rankings, you'll have so 5-star rating. It will visually help your link to stand out above anybody that hasn't. And because people judge you more by other people say than anything you say, if you've got lovely reviews on there, you might win business just from the Google search without them even to your website at all.